Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my studio. I was so stoked about yesterday's day 93, video that I just had to abandon all my plans and carry on with the rusting thing. I encourage you to watch day 93 if you haven't already. And I'm filming on location in my kitchen. So notice gloves at the start of the project instead of after the damage is done, the staining is done. I said that I was going to pour that sludgy, rusty liquid into my old enamel pot, and I have. A lot of sediment in there. I have. And this is neither here nor there, and I maybe shouldn't even be muddying the waters with this. This is my lousier camera setup, so this is some of the rusty stuff that I have used in the past. And of course, on a farm, there is no shortage. How's that for a small nail? There is no shortage of rusty stuff. So I use some of these items, and I think in past eco-dyeing attempts. And of course, I didn't know very much about what I was doing and so on. So you can see that a lot of them are pretty thick and, maybe have sharp edges on them. Nuts and whatever. So I want to try that again this summer, but anyway, in that bin I have this dedicated wooden spoon. So maybe I'll stir my witch's brew with this spoon. Okay, so if you watched yesterday's video, you know that as I plucked my rusty items out of the 2 jars I was using, I had a scrap of this linen-y type weave fabric, and I just threw it in one of the jars, and in those few minutes that it took to fish the rusty items out of the water, this happened. So I'm stoked, man. And that's why we're doing this today. So, I'll back up here. I don't know what day it was, but if you saw me do the video about anaglyph wallpaper, so in other words, the paintable wallpaper, you know that I had a bunch of these small scraps. So I'm thinking that since the results were so quick and easy, why don't I just maybe use some of these smaller ones, dip them in and out of the stuff. I'm protecting my island. It's a quartz countertop, so it's non-porous. But I've opened up a white garbage bag just so that you can see. I'm just trying to figure out what I can show you. Okay, I'm going to just quickly dip these 4 pieces in and out and see what happens. I won't have a great deal of space here to put things out to dry, so that's what we get there, just dipping it in and out. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is move this because I'm going to need drying space. Okay, let's do another one. Oh, cool. I still have those. Oh no, that wasn't grass. That was where the rip was. Okay, so maybe at the end, if you can't see everything, I apologize, but I will at the end take my camera out of the holder, such as it is, and sort of pan over the whole area so that you can see what's what. Should have left my spoon a little closer so I can, see, this one is really kind of detailed. So all those some of that little grit has settled on there. Now, of course, we don't know if that will dry in place and stick on and remain there, or if it'll flake off once it's dry. I think I need to keep my spoon handy so I can keep activating whatever is settling. Okay, cool. So I ran around like a chicken without a head looking for some stuff to dye. I didn't have any white cheesecloth. This has been coffee dyed or something, but I figured it can't hurt to give this a little. And again, because this is so very intense, it's basically just dip and remove. Like grungy or what? Oh, and while I was in between running around like a chicken without a head, I also just on my phone Googled, how to rust things. And one thing that I found, and I don't want to turn this into a science class because goodness knows I don't know anything about science. I'm just rearranging these things so I can get more objects down here. Anyway, to make something rust, you need two components, water and oxygen. So I was thinking, in order to keep my two little jars, my pickle jar, and okay, I'm going to do this knit stuff, whatever it is, knit or crochet, I don't know what it is, a thrifted thing. In order, I was using a pickle jar and a jar from pasta sauce, and I didn't, there was a bit of a chemical reaction I remember at the beginning where it would sort of, I probably overfilled the jar slightly and it sort of, there was a little foaming and it kind of almost wanted to, look at this, almost wanted to overflow. So then for the remainder of the months, I kept those jars covered, which makes me think that that was limited to the oxygen that was in the jar, which couldn't have been very much. Sorry, I keep rearranging these things because I want to be able to maximize my drying space here, as well as have you guys be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, this one, I don't know, the way that is done, I'm thinking maybe I had a bundle of something. Oh, I should stir this up. Okay, so when I try this again, I'm going to make sure that my containers are open so they get that oxygen component. And then I saw several videos. So white vinegar it's ironic. Vinegar can remove rust, but it can also precipitate rusting. Yeah, sorry, I'm rearranging things here. Okay, you can see this. I'm just going to set it over here. And I might have to start layering some of these things because this is just one of those kitchen catcher type bags. Okay, this is some canvas. I didn't even realize that I had this, but as I was digging through my drawer of neutrals, I found these two, look at, just from my dirty gloves, these two things, someone had stitched them, zigzagged them to a bigger piece. So anyway, throw it in. Okay, so white vinegar and iodized salt apparently is one of the recipes. Then I saw something else about bleach. Now bleach is kind of scary to me, so I think I'd avoid bleach. Oh, look at how it settles, that crud settles in the, so hopefully, and the beauty, oh, see, there's that little white patch. I guess I didn't dip it long enough. The beauty of this is that in the squeezing out, oh, you end up getting some nice folds and creases and so on. Now this canvas is really pretty heavy, so I don't know if this is, I know canvas is sold or measured by the ounce. So I'm going to leave that white spot there. And I'm going to just set this aside to dry. Now look at, in the splashing around that I'm doing, that ended up happening. So maybe what I'll do is just kind of try to pick up some of these droplets that are on my plastic here. You probably can't see everything I'm doing, but it's like, you know, when you do a mopping up. And I think I'm going to leave this one kind of at this level, because sometimes you don't want something so brown. Now there seems to be a bit of resistance. I don't know if there's, well, this has obviously been washed because it's so frayed. So you'd think that if there was any sizing in the fabric, it would have long since been gone. Okay. Now, if there's ever an incident at the Anaka farm where we need a sling, well, we're going to be SOL, because I'm going to dye this sling. So you know that that this is really pretty thin stuff. So it should take nicely. Again, I'm kind of stirring up the... Ooh. Now, if you can get over the fact that this looks a little bit like baby diarrhea, this is really kind of... This is like playing with mud pies or something. Sorry about the diarrhea reference, but anyone who's a mother, that's not an image you soon forget, no matter how old your kids are. Okay, so this, again, almost kind of has that tie-dyed effect. Whoops, dip the tail back in there. So I've got some really dark patches and all these lighter ones, and I'm going to leave this exactly as you see it. Now, it's just too bad. Well, maybe after the video, I'll take this stuff outside and let it dry. Sunny and windy, so yeah, it should dry nice and quickly there. I don't know, maybe we could leave this one balled up. I just would like to sort of preserve the whiter areas that are there, so maybe I won't really scrunch it up too much. Just lay that out there. Okay. 100 years ago, when I got married, wedding presents often included bedding, and of course that was also, I should cut this. So we got a lot of those embroidered pillowcases, and of course it was all cotton, no polyester, so it was kind of miserable to iron. But now in hindsight, it's kind of the cat's meow, isn't it? So I'm going to, I know I'm off camera here. I'm just going to open this up. I should have done it before I turn on the camera, but I'm just going to make a slit and then a rip so that the pieces are more manageable. And I'll probably only do one of these because, I mean, once you've seen it, you've seen it. Like, I am so tickled by this, and now from what I've read, I don't need to have this process go on for months and months and months like I did. So I'm probably going to find some more bigger jars, throw, you know, things like paper clips and, you know, some of the things we use in our journals into the solution, and I'm going to use vinegar and iodized salt. I'm going to add some of those rusty items that I showed you earlier. Again, you can see the variation. You know, I've had a similar thing happen with using, say, avocado dyeing. I can't remember about red cabbage. There is a certain amount of granular or sediment or whatever the proper word is that you can use to your advantage if you want sort of that more variegated look. Again, I'll show you this. Maybe I'll leave this one balled up. So, of course, by leaving it balled up, just squeeze a bit more. Okay. Those creases are sort of getting baked in, and the dye, the color will happen in places. It'll be more concentrated in some of the folds and more unexpected results is basically what I'm trying to say. Okay, this one maybe would have some polyester in it because it is not exactly taking as well, or maybe I didn't dip it in long enough or stir up the sludge. Yeah. So I was saying, bigger jars, have a couple batches going, again, with the intention of making this liquid for dyeing. And I think unlike organic matter, what else have I got here? I guess I have the piece off, the one that I just, I'll let the seam go. You know, where I cut it, or where I ripped it, I'll let that go because that will be an interesting effect too. Sorry, I interrupted myself and lost my train of thought. Hopefully it'll come back to me. Oh, unlike organic matter, I don't think this water will ever spoil as such, but then who knows? Goodness knows I've been wrong before. So this, I said, is the other piece of that partial pillowcase. So maybe same thing here, I'll leave it in a ball. Again, I'm running out of space. And maybe the final thing that I've gathered here, this looks to me like, excuse me, like a linen thing that I've cut into. There might have been some embroidery, sorry guys, some embroidery or something, but it has that, I think that's called a hem stitch, where I used to know how to do this 100 years ago when I was doing Ukrainian embroidery. It seems to me you pull out that one thread. Well, no, scratch that. Pretend I never said anything. I don't know how to do it. It just looks to me like there's a thread missing, and that's how you end up with that hole. But it could just be that you get that effect when you're doing that little hem stitch. And of course, that is a lovely way to finish a piece off. It adds that extra element of interest. And you'll notice that there was a mitered corner. So this too, I mean, it's a narrow thing. Maybe this is 4 inches wide or so. But it, because it's so, got that linen look to it, or maybe it is actually linen, it looks just awesome. If I move this, I'm just going to spread this out in front of me. I'll do the other strips like this that I have, and then then I'll show you some of the results. And of course, nothing has dried other than maybe the paper. So, okay, these last few pieces. Same thing. And, you know, considering how much of this color has been absorbed, I still have a fair bit left of this liquid. So I will be putting it into a jar. Just don't know if I should put it in the fridge or not. Or maybe I should leave it at room temperature, because another thing they said about rusting is that the warmer it is, the quicker the rusting process happens. So I guess when you think about people who live near an ocean, you've got salt, you've got water, you've got oxygen. You know, no wonder the rusting process is so much more intense there. Again, similar results. And final piece. Now, if this doesn't scream, finish your damn grungy journal, what are you waiting for? How long? Why? Blah, 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 blah. Time, baby, time. I have so many things on the go. I can't remember who I said that to. It might have been Kim Newberg in a comment on her video. Like, she's great for, well, she does a lot of thrift haul videos. She, the thing about her is that she spends quite a long time talking about each item and saying, well, I would do this and this and this with it. And some of those things are, okay, yeah, we know. And other things are, oh, good going, like bright idea, smart cookie, that kind of reaction. And it just occurred to me, listening to her, that, hey, that's a little bit like listening to me sometimes. Well, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. And then, in fact, you know, there are only 24 hours in a day. As it is, I'm using 12 or more in this endeavor. Okay, I'm not going to move the camera. I'll just bring things more into your line of vision. So we have this. And of course, love how it's fraying. Love the speckled nature of that. Love this. Now, probably if this were a journal cover, I would want to, I'd cut this off and fray it. But then, of course, this could become, you know, a page trim, or maybe this becomes a pocket like that or something. I don't know. This is really thick stuff. I've worked with thinner canvas. So anyway, I won't keep mucking around with it because I want it to sort of stay as it is. Okay, let me show you the paper. Oh, it's kind of stuck to the... So this is the back side. So even the back side is lovely. And you see how it's sort of pooling in the design? So that is going to be cool when it's dry. This, I think, was the very first one I did. So this is more like an overall design. This is similar. And again, my question with when I did this one was, will those dark little flakes fall off once this is all dry? So that remains to be seen. This is that one that looks like, that pattern that looks like Venetian plaster. So again, we'll let that dry. Okay, this is the one that I had done initially in yesterday's, in the day 93 video. And this bit must have been just floating around and got swept up in the action. This is that, I don't know, is that knitting or, I don't know, I guess it doesn't matter. This was a remnant that I found during a thrift haul. So you can see it's a little bit, the color is a little bit variegated, but lovely. Now I would fear, I think it would be dangerous, unless a person stitched first, I think it would be dangerous to cut this lengthwise, but maybe this would be the perfect tie on the yet to be made grungy journal. So I will spread this out after you guys have left me. This is the sling, the triangle of fabric for the sling. Now, if you have tried to tear something that is an irregular shape, like say a quilt piece or something that's been cut on the diagonal, you know that sometimes you can't predict what's going to happen, even though I can see the threads are going this way. Anyway, I just love this. I'm not typically a fan of batik, but that's sort of what it looks like. So again, I'll be spreading this out. Oh, I should be careful what I'm doing here so I don't really... Anyway, soon the video will be over. This is the other piece of canvas that I fully emerged. And remember that little sort of white spot there? Look how nicely the fringe grabbed the color. This was that cheesecloth that had been tea dyed or something before. And this, of course, is multiple folds here, so it won't be quite that dark when it's separated into its layers. This, I think, was probably poly cotton. Now, again, those marks, I think I may have had a little bit of, maybe had used this for eco dyeing, because those look like marks that would have been created by the string. Okay, you saw that. And then, oh, pillowcase. Oh, these are the ones I'm leaving in balls. Here's another piece, probably just a poly cotton, but again, really lovely. And of course, also on my to-do list is doing something with a lot of copper, copper, metallic copper accents and so on. So, I mean, this color palette here is just perfect for that. So, my lovelies, I think I'm going to stop there. I want to spread these things out properly so that they dry. Typically, I try to do an Instagram post, as a kind of a teaser, come see this video kind of thing. So you will get a chance to see how these things look after they have dried. And of course, if you subscribe and if you hit the notification bell and if you keep coming back, number one, because there will be a giveaway when I hit the 500 subscriber mark, shameless plug, you will see these things get incorporated in upcoming projects. I have to say that if there is one frustration with doing this 100-day project thing, is that I do whatever the idea is, and then I typically, after I shut off the camera, I think, oh, I've got all this mess, I've got all this stuff spread out, I've got all these things laid out, why don't I keep going? Or why don't I finish what I've started? So I do that, but there's, again, because I don't know how to edit and my camera doesn't pause, it seems to me that sometimes there's some lack of continuity. And I know that sometimes in your comments you say, oh, I can't wait to see what you do with this, whether it's a thrifted video or kind of these tutorial process type videos. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to maybe close the circle and have some of these things come back so that you actually see, okay, yeah, remember in day 94 when we did blah, 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 blah. This is the journal cover that resulted, and then another thing I have to get better at doing is linking videos. So far, I kind of think that, well, I created playlists, so certainly anybody who wants to follow up or sort of see, okay, what did she do for the 100-day project, can find, the series of things there. And then, same thing with thrifting videos, if that's your shtick and what you're most interested in, or my other series on what's in my bookcase. Then you go to the playlist and you sort of I'm sure you choose play all. But if you're rushed for time or have a specific interest, then you cherry pick which videos out of the playlist you want to use. So I will try to get better at linking videos, both my own and other people's, to make it a wee bit easier, because I know everybody is busy. Anyway, enough about that. Let me stop this video and let you go and start your own rust solution. We shall see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. Bye.